Welcome to The Explainer. If you've ever felt completely stuck trying to learn English, trust me, you are not alone. So today, we're going to cut through all that confusion with a really simple visual roadmap to help you speak with confidence.
So, this is the big question, right? How do we actually learn to speak English well? It can feel super complicated, but the source we're diving into today has a method that's surprisingly straightforward. Let's get into it.
Here's our game plan. We've got 5 key stops on this journey. We're going to start with a really important mindset shift, then build our foundation with words and sentences, get a handle on tenses, and then we'll wrap it all up with a simple 3-step method for speaking.
Okay, first things first. And honestly, this might be the most important idea in this entire explainer. Before we even touch a single grammar rule, we have to get our mindset right.
And there it is. English is not a subject, it's a language. Now that sounds simple, but just think about it for a second. We study subjects to pass a test. We learn a language to connect with people. The goal isn't getting a perfect score, it's being understood. It's a total game changer.
So this whole approach really rests on these 4 pillars. First up is vocabulary. You got to have the words. Then you learn how to frame a sentence, how to put those words in order. Next, you implement the methods, some simple techniques to get you talking. And finally, the one that makes it all work, listen, speak, and practice.
All right, let's tackle that first pillar, building up your vocabulary. Think of these words as the actual Lego bricks of the language. You can't build anything without them.
So you might be wondering, where on earth do I even begin? Well, the source scene has a fantastic tip. Start with your world. Just look around you. Your body parts, the food you eat, the clothes you wear. Learning these words first makes the language useful to you, like right away.
And really, the main takeaway here couldn't be simpler, as you can see on the screen. Learn the vocabulary as much as you can. There's just no way around it. The more words you know, the more tools you have in your toolbox to say what you mean.
Okay, so now we're gathering our words. But how do we actually put them together so they make sense? Well, this next part is basically the blueprint for building almost any sentence you'll ever need in English.
And here it is, the core formula. It's pretty simple. You have a person or a thing, that's your subject. Then they do something, that's your verb. And that action usually affects something else, that's the object. Subject, verb, object. Get that down and you're golden.
Now this chart here just helps us with that first piece of the puzzle, the subject. It neatly organizes all those pronouns like I, you, he, and they into singular and plural. Nailing this down is the first step to making sure your sentences sound right.
All right, so we have our words and we have our basic sentence structure, but there's a really important piece missing: time. Tenses are just how we tell people when something happened, and you gotta have them for people to understand you.
So let's start with right now, the present tense. This is for talking about what's happening at this very moment. So, using our formula, it's as simple as Ramu is at home. Okay, now let's jump back in time to the past. For things that are already done, you just swap out the helping verb. So our sentence now becomes, Ramu was at home. Easy, right?
And finally, let's look ahead. For anything that hasn't happened yet, we use will be. So our example changes one last time to Ramu will be at home. See? Past, present, future. It's just a small change.
Okay, this is where it all comes together. This is the exciting part. We're going to take everything we've learned, the mindset, the words, the structure, and actually turn it into real-life speech with a super simple 3-step method.
3. That is the magic number here. The source argues that you don't need to memorize hundreds of confusing rules. You just need to get really good at 3 core methods, and you'll be able to talk about almost anything.
And here they are, the big 3. First, you have sentences without a main action, which just describe a state of being, like, she is nice. Second, you have sentences with the clear action, like, I read books. And third, you have a combination of both for ongoing actions, like, I am reading a book.
This chart just makes it so clear. A great way to think about it is this. Method 1 is for what something is. Method 2 is for what something does. And method 3 is for what something is doing right now. If you can just get comfortable with these 3 patterns, you've honestly unlocked a huge part of everyday English.
And it all comes down to this. The formulas, the methods, they're just the blueprint. The real work, the real secret to getting fluent is what you see right here. Listen, speak, and practice. over and over and over again. That's the engine that's going to drive you all the way to fluency.